Hello, everyone. Welcome to the video. We are the political dicks. That's who we are. DICKS. Don't forget it. So today we're going to be discussing the various polling that is impacting the presidential race. We're going to look at the national poll. We're going to look at the other individual state polls. We're going to look at the Senate polls, and we're going to see what's going to happen. So as you can see on the screen right now, Biden is now ahead by double digits. He is ahead by 10 points. That is pretty significant because Hillary Clinton only led about at 3 points at this same point of time 4 years ago. So it's not even close. And not even Obama, not even a lot of other recent elections has there been as huge of a lead as this close to election day. So what we're looking at now is pretty significant. Biden plus 10. Trump can't make up that in the electoral college.
This is also significant for Biden, as this is the highest point he's ever reached in his campaign. This beats out the roughly 9.6 he experienced in his July peak. So 10.1, that it looks like that is still growing, is definitely significant, especially in the last few weeks of the campaign season. So moving on to the actual states themselves, we are going to start off with the Rust Belt state of Minnesota. So Minnesota was originally one of the competitive races back in August and early September, but ever since then it has widened out to meet, or actually it's now below the national average. It was above the national average, but it's now hovering at roughly +9. So if we pop over to our political map here, it is definitely a lean Democratic state.
All right, so the next one that we have going here is the state of Wisconsin. It's not even close, really. All right, what is it? I can't see the number.
It is plus
Uh,
7.3 for Biden.
7.3 for Biden. So yeah, that's pretty significant because Wisconsin was one of those states that went to Trump by about 1 point, and now it's done a complete 8 point swing the other way. And this is just following in line with all the other swing states in the Rust Belt.
And this is definitely out of reach for Trump, as it is also a very likely state for Joe Biden. Next off, going down the Rust Belt, we have the state of Michigan. And Michigan is also going to be a likely state for Joe Biden, as it is voting along with the national average. I mean, a little bit below. It's at what, +8, so it's 2 below the national average. It's still a significant lead. Something Donald Trump is not going to be able to claw back. So, racking up Joe Biden's electoral college, he's now at 242. With Michigan, he now has 258, and he's only 12 electoral votes away from winning the White House.
All right, the next one we have is Pennsylvania. That is Biden's home state. So he is ahead by about 7 points. Still, it's not even close, even though it's the closest of all the swing states. It's not in the Rust Belt. It's not really even the swing state right now. It's not even close.
So, with these four Rust Belt states going into Biden's likely column, he now has enough electoral college votes to win the election. But this is not it for Joe Biden. He will likely carry more states. So, moving on from the state of Pennsylvania, we're going to go to the state of Arizona. So, the state of Arizona is currently polling at Biden plus around 4. It is narrowing up a little bit, but with a Biden plus 4 environment in Arizona, he is likely to carry this state. So Biden is going to most likely carry this state with a lean margin. So this only adds to his electoral college lead, which is now sitting at 289 to Trump's 125.
All right, so now we're looking at the one electoral vote in Nebraska's second district. That is going to go to Biden in a lean margin. It was pretty close last time, but with Biden leading so far ahead, it's likely to either go in the lean or likely margin.
This is definitely going to be a likely. Biden is currently polling at plus 11 for Nebraska's second district. And last time Nebraska's second district was polled, it was +7, +6, which matches up with the national
Don't
average
mind Survey
expanding.
Monkey.
No, SurveyMonkey is Nebraska at large. So,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
as terrible of
All
a
right.
pollster they are, it's not the right district. So, this is definitely a likely. This is definitely a likely margin for Joe Biden. Awesome.
Wow, blue Nebraska.
Listen, I misclicked. So, moving on from Nebraska, we have the state of Texas. So, Texas has been very close the entire election season almost. It has been less than basically 4 points the entire time, and it is even narrowing up. At one point, it was around just +1. Now it is +2, but recent polls show it going even or back and forth. So this is a very contentious state that Trump is currently playing defense in. Because if he loses this state, he is definitely going to lose the election, 100%. So with Trump's tax returns revealing that he's engaged in, tax fraud and money laundering as the next October surprise, because we apparently get one every day now instead of one. This might impact the polls just enough to flip Texas, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. So Texas, I think, by the time November 3rd comes around, is going to be tilt Republican.
Something else I want to point out that's interesting before I move on is Alaska's now a lean state. It's pretty interesting because last time it went about, I don't know, what was it, 12, 13 points for Trump, and it's supposed to be a deep Republican state, but the polls are indicating that Trump's only leading by a lead margin. That just shows what a 10-point national average does. So from moving on from that, we have Iowa. And when we're looking at the polls for that, surprisingly, Joe Biden is leading in the state, but not surprising really because Biden's ahead +10 in the national polls. So that's what you would probably expect.
So B plus pollster Quinnipiac has Biden at +5. This is significant as it matches the huge shift to the left in October. And I will let you finish up your analysis.
All right, yeah. So it pretty much looks like it was in Trump's column for most of the time. Only most recently has it been for Biden, really. For sure if Biden wins that state, you already know it's over. It's rest of the Rust Belt states are going to go blue if Iowa flips.
So what do you think is going to end up on election night?
Tilt for Biden.
Cool. And moving on from Iowa, we go down to the state of Florida. Florida has also been another contentious swing state, as it usually is in the past elections. So if we go look at Florida, we see that Biden is currently sitting at a +4 lead. Now, this is significant as it was originally narrowing up from a +5, +6 lead it was down to +2, +3. So the fact that it's widening up again is significant because Biden might actually carry this on election night. In fact, I think he will carry this on election night because recent polls show him ahead. I don't know about as much as +11. This might just be an outlier poll, but I definitely think he'll carry this by at least 3 points on election night. So that would be lean Democrat, right?
And the main reason for that is because seniors don't really like Trump as much in Florida anymore. Biden has been taking a significant portion of Trump's elderly base, which, in previous elections you say, oh, the old people, they go Republican, but it's not so much anymore. And that's because of the whole pandemic thing that's going on, the issue with healthcare and pre-existing conditions and Social Security. So the next one we have here is Georgia. When you look at the polls, it's actually leaning Biden, which is pretty surprising. About 1 point. I feel like this state still might tilt in Trump's column, though, because even in 2008, in a blowout margin, Georgia still went for McCain. So I'm just going to give Trump the benefit of the doubt and tilting Georgia barely for the president.
I agree with that. So, with that being said, we are now sitting at 325 electoral votes for Joe Biden and 179 electoral votes for Donald Trump. And this so far is shaping up to be an election blowout by these margins. So, moving on, we have the state of Ohio. Ohio has correctly predicted the president for the last, 30, 40 years? So, looking at Ohio's polling, we can see that Joe Biden is ahead by the same margin that he's ahead in Georgia. I believe this is where Ohio's streak of correctly guessing the president is going to end, as I think Donald Trump will carry this state unless something else changes in the polling or something else changes in the news cycle, where it will affect a significant amount of voters. Because this margin is not enough to take Ohio with current polling. So I think this will definitely go tilt Republican for Donald Trump.
Okay, yeah, you can leave it as that if you want. Just in my opinion, if Iowa's gonna flip, I think Ohio would flip too. But you can leave it as it is because it's close enough. Yeah, we have to wait and see. If you were gonna ask my opinion, Iowa would flip with Ohio, but you can leave it as it is. That's just fine.
Yeah.
North Carolina, For Biden, it's up, I think, around 3 or 4 points, 3 points. And that's pretty significant because the Republicans have pretty much held on to the state for a long time, excluding 2008. That was an election landslide. They carried in 2012, 2016, 2000, 2004. Now it's leaning in Biden's call by about 3 points. So that's definitely significant when thinking about North Carolina. So that would be in the lean Biden.
And I think he will carry this by a lean margin. It may not be 3%, but it might be closer to like 1 or 2% for Joe Biden. But he will carry North Carolina if he's going to carry Florida and Iowa. So the last electoral vote we have on the map to pick up is Maine's 2nd District. So Maine's 2nd District has also been a close, although worthless, pretty much vote, unless you were looking at the possibility of a tie, which doesn't look likely anymore. So recent polling from Maine's 2nd District actually shows Trump ahead by +9. But if we go back further, it has actually the only other poll recently shows him at +2 and +3. So it looks like it is Maine's 2nd District is trending back toward Trump's column. I don't know how accurate these polls are, considering it's a C or D rated pollster, but it is something to watch as it may go either way. I don't know how this will end up on election night.
Well, I was just saying you could put that Maine 2nd District in the Trump column on the map just for
shits and
seeing the
giggles.
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Oh, great! I did it again.
It's okay. Just
Another significant thing about Maine at large is now safe in Biden's column. It is now +15 for Biden. So if we look at these recent polls, Maine at large is Maine at large is now at +15. So that just shows you how far left these polls have shifted since October has started, with all the chaos that is slowly unfolding. So now we can see that Joe Biden wins the presidency with 340 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 198. Now, this seems like an election landslide to me, and even with the possibility of Ohio and Georgia flipping to Donald Trump or to Joe Biden's column, is a monumental landslide for Joe Biden.
It's pretty tough to see a path for Trump at this point. At this point, Joe Biden would probably have to die, to be honest, for Trump to have any chance, or Joe Biden would have to get involved in this huge, massive scandal. But at this point, the polls are pretty consistent. It's pretty much pointing to who's going to be the winner. And I don't think you're going to see the polls swing like 8 points and Trump's going to pull out this mystery win like last time.
Yeah, he's down. He has a 15% chance of winning. Just 15%. I mean, back in September, it was like as high as 32, which was right where he was around in 2016 on election night, right? It was in the lower to mid 30s.
Yeah, around there. It depends on the firm.
But now it's down to 15. And you can see up here and looking at the scenarios in which Trump will win, they're all extremely unlikely. Like this one has him carrying Michigan and Wisconsin. Not going to happen. Like none of these scenarios favor him in the slightest. Carrying New Hampshire, Biden has it by at least like what 8%, 6 to 8%. Also not going to happen. So this election is looking like to be a Biden victory by a large margin.
Yeah, and I kind of think about this back in March. Trump had the opportunity to really make this a landslide for him if he just really stood up. It's like he was really putting a lot of effort into stopping this virus. Even if it wasn't a perfect response, if it at least looked like he was trying to be responsible, he probably could have been winning by a landslide right now. The whole tables probably would have been turned right now.
Oh yeah, he would definitely have a much better shot against Joe Biden. But the coronavirus is just wreaking havoc across the US and it's just destroying his campaign. Now, moving on from the national presidential elections, we're going to go look at the Senate real quick because the Senate has also been changing along with Biden's margins. So looking at the Senate forecast, we can see that with the 23 Republican seats and 12 Democratic seats up for election, there's already one seat that the Republicans used to hold that is now likely Democrat, and that's the state of Colorado. So the state of Colorado has a 76% chance of going to Hickenlooper, while Cory Gardner is most likely going to lose this seat.
Hickenlooper sounds like a cereal brand.
It does. It's like Fruit Loops.
All right. Well, and he ran. Yeah, he ran for president and he failed. So,
yeah.
All right.
And moving on to the two The two lean Democratic seats that are now being picked up are now the states of North Carolina and Maine. So North Carolina is going to go to Cunningham with a 65% chance. Tom Tillis could technically still win. 35% is not a bad chance, but right now it's looking like an easy pickup for the Democrats.
Polls might change in that state a little bit because there was some sexting case.
There
Cal
was a sex
Cunningham,
scandal between Cal Cunningham and I forget who it was, but I think it was one of
I think he
his.
was cheating on his wife.
Yeah, he was definitely cheating on his wife, but I don't know if that's going to really affect the polls.
I don't
I
know.
think Kyle Cunningham still has this. Unlike Susan Collins. Susan Collins is definitely going to lose her seat. Even though it's a closer margin, Susan Collins is definitely losing it because the GOP has pulled out funding for Arizona, Colorado, and Maine. So these races are no longer getting funded as of next Wednesday. Susan Collins is definitely going to lose. So that leaves the Democrats with a 50-50 shot at Republicans with one more seat that is a complete toss up, pretty much. Teresa Greenfield has a very slight edge over Joni Ernst, but that seat isn't necessarily needed, as if Biden's winning with an 85% chance to get the election, then 50 is all you need for a majority.
Yeah, it probably would be pretty nice though to have a 51 if you want a majority because um, just in case something happens, I don't know, maybe have a senator resign. Oh, someone has to resign in the state of Ohio, Sherrod Brown. Let's say something happens, and then the governor replaces them. Now the Democrats don't have the majority anymore, so it's probably good to have that extra one in there just in case if something happens to one of your senators.
Yeah, like one of the senators is like 80 something years old. They could retire or just die of old age at any time. So that does make sense that we would want a 51 majority.
Thank you guys for watching this video. Love discussing this stuff with you. We are the political pundits. DICKS. That is who we are. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and we will consider it.